Okay, we're officially back on the record. I am calling the state of Georgia versus Dion Gaines, warrant number 2023 CW 50077. Mr. Gaines has been charged with giving an inmate guns, drugs, alcohol, other illegal items that was located in his cell at Clayton County Jail. The state ADA Sheriff Freeman is representing the state, and the defendant, Mr. Gaines, is represented by attorney Rogers. ADA Freeman, please call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Investigator Jackson, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about providing the matter of state of Georgia versus Dion Gaines will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
Investigator D. Jackson. I'm employed with the Clayton County Sheriff's Office, Internal Affairs and CID unit.
How long have you worked with the Clayton County Sheriff's Office?
11 months.
Sir, were you working with the Clayton County Sheriff's Office on January 6th of 2023?
Yes.
And on that particular day, were you given information regarding inmates having a shank?
Yes.
Okay. Please tell us what happened.
Okay, on January the 5th, a shakedown in the jail was conducted in Housing Unit 8, Section 4, in reference to contraband being, us being advised that there was contraband, and also an ongoing investigation into an inmate's assault. So once the shakedown was conducted in Housing Unit 8, Section 4, in Section 408, in room 408 is the room where Mr. Dion Gaines is lodged at. And when that shakedown was conducted inside of his cell, underneath his mattress in the bunk, there was a large blood shank found with blood on it. And Mr. Gaines was present at the time when it was located.
Did Mr. Gaines make any statements regarding the shank?
Not that I know of. Because I work with Internal Affairs, the units that that conducted the, I was in the area, but I was not part of the actual shakedown. Because usually how they do it here on Internal Affairs is on standby if something is found that we need to be notified for. So there was an investigator Jones that located the actual shank under the mattress, and then we were notified as far as continuing the investigation.
And Judge, I do want to bring this up before I keep going. I know Attorney Rogers and I talked about this. So there is a WAA that's, I believe it's based out of the same incident. I'm looking at it on CPU 8, but it's for possession of prohibited items.
Mm-hmm. That's what this code section is. It's basically having prohibited items across the guard line.
I just want to make sure, because so what I'm looking at, Judge, is 2023 WA 02428.
Okay, is that the same?
I don't know if it's the same.
No, it's not the same. The one.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because
yeah, the one I have on the calendar is for warrant number 2023 CW 50077 under code section 425-118. You said it's another one?
Yes, I'm not sure if it's the same incident or not. I don't know if Mr. Rogers knows, but I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't know if it's the same incident or not. But I'll keep going, Judge. I just wanted to bring that to the court's attention. I don't know if it's the same incident.
Is that something we can ask the investigator, or?
Well, it's the Investigator Jackson. Did
What
you?
do you know what the date is on that?
Now this one has confined date January 26th.
What,
Was
what,
it a separate incident? I'm sorry.
you broke up a little bit. What was the date on that?
It says confined date January 26th, and I just want to make sure it's a separate incident.
Yeah, January 26th. I believe that's going to be something else.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, this was on January the 5th.
Right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Investigator Jackson, were there any other inmates in the cell where the shank that was under Mr. Gaines' mattress?
I'm not sure if any other inmates were in that cell at the time.
You said you don't know if there were other inmates in the cell?
Yes, ma'am, at that time, because during the shakedown, I was in the area, but I wasn't physically in that housing unit at the time.
Was Mr. Gaines found any blood on him?
On his person, not that I know of. As far as I know, there was just blood on the actual shank. And we were in the process of investigating an inmate assault. That was the reason for the shakedown. And that assault involved that inmate being stabbed several times.
Was this the only shank that was found on that day?
No.
How many inmates are typically assigned in the one cell?
In one of the cells, typically 2 to 3.
Oh, 2 to 3. And so with Mr. Gaines, do you know how many inmates were assigned to his cell?
At that point in time, no, I do not.
Did this happen in Clayton County?
Excuse me?
Did this happen in Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I have no further questions.
Attorney Rogers, your witness.
Thank you. Investigator Jackson, I guess, are you considered the lead investigator on this case? Is that correct?
I'm one of the investigators on it. This is part of our larger investigation. So when the shakedown occurred and those items were found, it was assigned to me as far as getting the warrants for it.
And I just wanted to make sure I understood you correctly. You were saying that you're not personally conducting before we spend too much time on shakedown, what is a shakedown? Let's define that term, please.
Okay, the shakedown is when there are several correction officers, several deputies are gathered together, and when we have a notification that there may be contraband or weapons or anything that could be in certain areas of the jail, these correction officers and deputies go into that area, and it's basically a big search. It's basically big search, searching for illegal items that are not supposed to be in the jail.
And the search, when they conducted, is it on video? Do they videotape the searches?
There's video down in the jail. I don't know if anybody took like cell phone videos or anything like that, but there is video in the housing units.
So that video would just be them going from cell to cell, but not necessarily inside of the cell. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's no videos inside the cells, no. As far as in the housing unit, there's one camera that is in the centralized area of the housing unit.
And do you know prior to are we saying the 5th or the 6th? I just want to make sure I'm clear on the day.
The shakedown was conducted on the 5th, but we were finished, I believe it was after midnight. So that was when I ended up taking out the warrants on the 6th.
All right, so I'm gonna say prior to the 5th, since that's the actual search date. Do you know the last time that a search was conducted at that location?
There's been quite a few. I can't recall the last one that was done prior to the 5th, though.
Do you know how many, and I know you said you don't know how many inmates were currently assigned to that room. Is that, well, let me make sure that's correct. You don't know how many were assigned to the room?
Yes, sir. I'm not sure. I know that they're usually 2 to 3, but I'm not sure how many were in that specific cell at the time.
And as far as there being 2 to 3 people assigned, how many bunks are in the rooms?
There are 2 bunks in the room.
So then if we got 3 people, then it's a game of musical bunks, I guess, essentially. Somebody's going to end up on the floor or...
Yeah, well, as far as my understanding...
Or sharing I guess, if people really...
Inmates are assigned to certain bunks, and if that one, I guess if they have the overflow and they put an inmate there, they'll know that was the inmate that was not assigned to the bunk.
Okay. But this idea that people are assigned to bunks, is there anything that says that's how it actually happens in the cell?
As far as, I'm not...
In other words, say you and I are assigned in a cell, and I have the top bunk. I'm assigned the top bunk, and you're assigned the bottom bunk. But what if I want the top bunk, and you have the top bunk? What's going to stop me from or stop us from trading or changing?
I'm not saying there's anything that can stop them from doing that.
And do you know which bunk a person? How do you know which bunk a person is assigned to? Is there a record or something kept?
Yes, they have a census that is kept down in the jail that shows where each inmate is assigned.
I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You said census, not censors, right? Census, like
census, yes, census.
And no one is saying that they saw Mr. Gaines actually holding the alleged item, correct?
As far as I know, yes. Nobody said it was in his hand.
And do you know whether, and that, I'm assuming if we don't know how many people are assigned there, and correct me if I'm wrong, people also have access to other people's cells at times in the jail. Is that correct?
As far as my understanding, I'm not sure who has access to other people's cells.
And let me make the question a little less collegiate. Do sometimes one inmate go into another inmate's cell at the jail?
As far as my understanding, yes.
And I think that would be the extent of my questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay. ADA Freeman and the redirect.
No, Your Honor. State rest.
Okay. Any witnesses, Attorney Rogers?
No, ma'am, just argument.
Okay. We're ready for closings. ADA Freeman.
State waives opening.
Attorney Rogers.
Judge, at this point, essentially, unless I'm missing something here, the extent of the evidence they have to try to accuse Mr. Gaines of a crime is that he was assigned to a housing unit in a bunk, and if someone was found there, they don't know when it was searched. They don't know who else was assigned there. They don't know who else had access. I don't know the last time it was searched. At a certain point, I mean, you could just go through that, and if it's just not your lucky day, and they didn't do a great search before they put you in a cell, you just got a charge waiting to happen. And you might not even know. So everybody could be just sitting on time bombs at the jail if the investigation consists merely of, we came to this cell, we didn't see you with this thing, We don't necessarily know that you're even using this bunk. We don't know how many people else are in this room. We don't know how many people have access to this room or have been in and out of this room. Basically, all we know is we need to put a charge on somebody. So that's why Mr. Gaines is here this afternoon. That's not what probable cause is. We're here about the totality of the circumstances, the fact that he was assigned to a cell where contraband is found. You know, they have their little jail remedies. I'm not, lawyering for that part. If they want to take administrative remedies, that's one thing. But once you bring it out here into the free world, you need to have probable cause, and that's lacking. So I would ask that the charges be dismissed for lack thereof. Thank you.
Okay, 88 Freeman.
Thank you, Judge. We're asking that the one charge be bound over to Superior Court. Based on the testimony from Investigator Jackson, he stated that this bloody shank was found under the mattress that was assigned to Mr. Gaines. Whether or not there were other people in the cell or someone else could have done it certainly could be arguments for the defense if the case somehow goes to trial, but for purpose of probable cause, it was found under his mattress. And so we're asking that the court bind over this one charge to Superior Court.
Based upon the evidence and testimony presented by the parties, I do find sufficient probable cause to bind over the charge to Superior Court of Clayton County. That will be the order of the court today, and I will conclude the hearing for Dion Gaines. Thank you both parties for their presentation of the case.
Thank you, Judge. If I could have just one moment, I can get information ready for the next hearing.